Hey YouTube, how you guys doing? Jared Fuller here. Today is Sunday, April 8th, 2018. So glad you could join me for another installment of the Sunday video updates. I'm usually in a more upbeat kind of a mood, but it's been a very long, a very stressful week, and it didn't end well. A little girl who has been battling DIPG for a long time, she took her final breath yesterday morning around just shortly before noon, about 11:47. Her name was Antonia, and I used to keep in touch with her mom all the time. I don't know what to say other than, Lisa, if you're watching this, my heart is just absolutely broken. I took it really hard yesterday. She was just a little girl, you know, and I don't know what to say other than I'm sorry. I offer my condolences and my genuine love and support to Antonia's family. It's just really sad. Which kind of brings me to something else I wanted to talk about in this week's video, among some other things. But I see and hear this a lot, quite commonly in the childhood cancer community, even with my own parents. They always ask, what did I do to deserve this? What did my child ever do to deserve this? And that's what I want to talk about. My response to that is, you did nothing wrong. Nothing. There is nothing in this world that you, your family, or especially your kid could have ever done. Ever. There's nothing they could have ever done in this whole world to deserve being dealt the hand of childhood cancer. There is no cosmic justice scale that would ever warrant that kind of a punishment. None. And if there is a cosmic justice scale, well, guess what? I want zero to do with it. Because your kids, or you, there is nothing, I don't care what it is, there's nothing in this world that you could ever do. I mean, it just breaks my heart so much when I see and hear these kinds of things. You know, what did I do? What did I do to deserve this? I ate right. You know, I've always done good by other people. And no, you did nothing wrong. And, well, Jared, how can you say they did nothing wrong? Because there's nothing in this world that you could ever do that would ever justify a punishment like childhood cancer. There's nothing in this world that could ever... I don't understand how... I mean, I'm not a parent, so I guess I wouldn't understand. But even with my own parents, like I said, you know, they used to blame themselves all the time for me being sick. And it's like, it wasn't your fault. There was nothing, you know, it was going to happen anyway. There's nothing different I mean... And that comes up to, what did I do, what did I not do right? You did everything right. You did absolutely everything right. But in this case where, you know, I see and hear this all the time, especially, you know, my parents have said the same thing. What did I do to deserve this? Because I've always treated everybody decently. I've always, you know, when I was pregnant for you, I ate the right stuff. You know, I had always eaten the right foods, and I didn't drink or do drugs. Didn't even smoke cigarettes. These things happen. It's just something in life that happens. We can ask why all day long, and that would probably be a more appropriate approach to it. Why does this have to happen? And as soon as we figure out the why, we can correct it. But when I see and hear parents say things like, well, what did I ever do in this life to deserve my baby going through this? The answer is, you did nothing wrong. And I can say that about a lot of my friends that I've gotten to know over the years. I mean, there's still at times when I talk to my friends, whether it be on Skype or through text message or even email, it's the same thing over and over again. Well, I used to blame myself for not doing something right, and I always ask, what did I ever do, or what did my kid ever do? And I always tell them, you did nothing wrong. Because, and I know this, not just because they're my parents, but any parent, and they don't necessarily have to be friends, any parent out there who's ever had to go through this with their own children, I'm almost certain that they are reasonable people. Their children come first. They protect their children. There's no way that anyone who puts their children first would ever or should ever be punished for putting their children first. I don't know. Even to the people who hate me, I say this. It wasn't your fault. You did nothing wrong. Your kids didn't deserve this. It's heartbreaking to see and hear that kind of talk, and it's like, oh my God, you didn't do anything wrong, and I wish I could just hug you or do something to make you understand that it wasn't your fault. You did nothing wrong. Your kids did nothing wrong in this world to deserve this. Nobody deserves it. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Why the hell would I? There's no one in this world who would ever deserve something like childhood cancer. It breaks my heart. It just absolutely kills me because, like I said, we can ask, why does this happen all day long, which I couldn't agree with you more. Why does childhood cancer exist? Why do these things happen? Well, as soon as we find out the answer to the why, then we can go about correcting it and making changes. That's why I always say that advocacy is important. Raising awareness is important because the more people we get behind this movement, maybe things will start to change. And, we have to start with local and state government first, and then eventually get to national government. Things need to change. There need to be improvements. And yeah, I don't know where we go other than to just keep raising awareness, keep bringing light to the issue, because we're never going to get anywhere. It's just like I was telling a friend of mine yesterday that because of the word rare being involved in every sentence relating to childhood cancer, well, the word rare is impeding progress. We're not getting anywhere because people think that, oh, it's rare. Well, even on the flip side of that coin, they think because, well, if it's rare, then people will want to do it more, and it'll bring light to the issue more. Childhood cancer is not rare, and it doesn't seem to be working when you're using the word rare in the same sentence as childhood cancer. Things need to change. Things need to change drastically. It's not going to happen overnight, but, although in my opinion it should, but that's why we just have to keep working at, raising awareness for funding and research, having more child-friendly like chemotherapy, because there are kids now to this day who are using outdated adult chemo drugs. I'm almost certain that when I was battling cancer, when I was a baby, I was having adult chemo drugs coursing through my body. I don't know if that's true, but it very well could be. I don't know. I mean, I had vincristine and the Red Devil and actinomycin D. I don't know if those are adult chemo drugs. Perhaps, well, there I go. I just answered my own question, I guess. Perhaps I could do a Google search, like I tell everybody else to do. But there's just so much that needs to be done. There's so much that needs to be changed. And parents, please stop blaming yourselves for your children having cancer. It's not your fault. You do what any parent should do for their kids. You feed them, you put a roof over their head, you ensure their safety, you try your best to make sure they're healthy. Cancer is much more extravagant, much more complicated. It's not influenza. It's a whole different ballpark. So please, it's not your fault. Please don't blame yourselves. Please. You did nothing wrong. You didn't do anything in this world to deserve your babies getting sick. Nothing. And I just wanted to get that out there. And, of course, little Antonia, again, I offer my utmost. And this is hard for me because I had sent that little girl a gift in the mail. This is really hard. So, if Antonia's family is watching this, or at least listening, I really am sorry for your loss. And I offer my utmost condolences and genuine love and support. And I will continue to raise awareness in Antonia's memory, her honor, and her legacy. So, and Mom, you have my cell phone number if you ever need to talk. If you ever need to vent, please don't hesitate to call me. I'll talk to you. I'll talk with you, rather. There was something else I wanted to get to. It's childhood cancer related, and this is something that it actually outrages me, because I see and hear this monotony quite often as well about germs. Well, he's used to my germs. I've been there since day one. He's used to my germs. Well, let me tell you something, you bumbling buffoon. First of all, educate yourself more on germs. Second of all, are you not a product of the same environment as the rest of us? I mean, you breathe in the same air. You have the same pollutants, the same chemicals, the same everything. You are ingesting all of this in the air, just like the rest of us are. So please explain to me how your cough is less toxic than someone else's influenza. Do you live in a vacuum? I mean, we are all the product of the same environment. I don't understand how your germs are less effective, which it's really stupid. It just blows my mind, the shit that people come up with. Well, my germs are less effective because he's used to my germs. And no, that's not how it works. Your germs are your germs. And what's good for the goose should be good for the gander. If I'm not allowed to come over to meet the warrior, then neither should you be. You should not be allowed at the house either. No visitors means no visitors. So, before any of you decide to come at me with this nonsense about how, well, he's used to my germs and blah, 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 I'm going to tell you off. Be prepared for an earful, because that is the most ridiculous, most absurd line of crap I've ever heard in my life. Because, and this is why I talk about this, because especially with children, they are more susceptible. But when you have a child battling cancer, even the littlest germ, which there are no such thing as little or big germs, but you know what I'm trying to get at here. Even a cough, a simple cough, can trigger something else in the child's body. And that's why I'm saying this person's cough is no less effective than this person's influenza or that person's sneeze, or, well, we cover our mouths when we cough and when we sneeze. It doesn't frickin' matter. Germs are germs. And when you develop a cough, you had to have contracted it from somewhere else. We are all the product of the environment in which we inhabit collectively together. Unless you live in a vacuum, please don't give me this bullshit about, well, my germs are less effective than everybody else's. He's used to my germs. I've been there since day one. You're a moron. And I would recommend that you educate yourself a little bit on germs, because there's no way that your germs are less effective. It's just the most absurd crap I've ever heard in my life. And mind you, these are people telling someone who actually survived childhood cancer. And it's like, you do realize, I mean, do you not watch YouTube? I mean, you do realize that I am a survivor, and I only speak truth. A lot of people don't like truth. Many people do. I'm going to speak truth whether it pisses anybody off or not, whether it be here on YouTube or in public. I'll just tell you right to your face, I think that's an idiotic statement, because you're wrong, period. There's no two ways about it. You're just wrong. So the next time, and it's not just people in the childhood cancer community, of course. This is everywhere. And the next time someone tells you that, well, my germs are less effective than this other person's germs, tell them they're wrong. Tell them to get a life, do some research, and say, germs are germs. And if you have germs that, can potentially harm my child, prolong my child's health issues, then I don't want you around. That's why I kind of take issue to the fact that, there are people who say, well, we can't have visitors for such and such amount of time, but yet all these other people are going over there. Really, you can't have visitors, so what are they doing there? And that was kind of my thing too. For the longest time, that was an issue that I had as well, is that when you have kids in the hospital and they say, well, no, he can't have visitors because of the germs and all that stuff. Okay, that's understandable. But then the next day, you have baseball players, cops, football players. Well, gee, I thought he couldn't have visitors. What are they doing there? Did they not just come in from outside? Celebrity status does not exclude them from germs. And it may be, it could be a child who's about to pass away. And I'm not trying to make light of this, and I have to be very careful with my words, but it could very well be that's a child's wish on their bucket list. I understand all that. But what I'm saying is, generally, if they can't have visitors, like if I wanted to go and visit a friend and he's not allowed visitors because he's in quarantine or whatever, or he just can't have visitors, but he's in a regular room. And then I see baseball players, basketball players, football players come in. I thought he couldn't have visitors. What's up with that? You just told me I couldn't come to see your kid, but you've got dogs coming in, you've got police coming in, firefighters, baseball players. I don't know. Seems rather ambiguous. I mean, to say that I can't come in, but all these other people can. Wow. I mean, it does. It kind of upsets me. I'm not going to say it doesn't. It upsets me in a way, but then it doesn't. It upsets me because I would like to see or to visit with your warrior and come in and see you. And it upsets me because I'm not allowed, but then on the other hand, it doesn't upset me, because if that were the case, and this also ties into the germ thing, if it is the case that these people are coming in, and if something further should happen with the warrior, well, then that's on them. The people who are coming in and out, that's on them. So the blame will be on them. And that it won't be on my conscience. Like if I come in and although I'm healthy, I don't, have sneezes or coughs or anything. But, it's not going to land on my feet. The blame won't land at my feet. So that's kind of where I don't, I don't make too much of a fuss about it. But even still, I mean, what's good for the goose should be good for the gander. It's just this crazy idea. It just blows my mind, the kinds of shit people come up with. Well, my germs are less effective. He's used to my germs. You're an idiot. Educate yourself a little bit on germs, and for the love of God, please understand that it's like trying to fool the magician here. Although I'm no magician, but I'm no fool either. And I know how germs work. I understand germs. I don't care if you've been there since day one. I don't care if you're the person's best friend. Your germs are your germs. And if the parent takes issue with people coming into the house or the hospital or elsewhere in fear of the germs creating additional issues for their children who are battling cancer, well, then that same rule should apply to you as well. It should apply to everybody, not just certain people. You don't get to pick and choose who can and can't come to see your kid because, well, I think this person's germs are worse, but hey, they're my best friend, so their germs are okay. It's just the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. But I'm rambling and I'm, beating a dead horse here. But anyway, moving on. GuideStar.org. That is the website you use to find out who's legit and who's not with nonprofit organizations, 501c3s, and LLCs. GuideStar.org. Check it out. Oh, yeah, and I also wanted to mention about yesterday's birthday party at Heidi and Owlets. It was really cool. I posted a video where we were singing happy birthday to Ethan, and we told him blow out the candle, and his sister Alexis, oh, don't mind if I do. It was cute. I'm glad I got that on video. I just couldn't resist. I had to post it. It was just the cutest thing ever. They didn't want me to leave. They just, because I don't make it up there. I mean, when they lived closer, when they lived local here in Chesaning, when they lived in town, I was at their house every day. But then they moved like 2 counties away, so now it gets a little bit harder to commute up to their house. Although that's kind of a cop-out as well, because I can drive practically everywhere else in the state. I could drive everywhere else in the state. I drive to Lansing. I can drive to Grand Rapids or Detroit or wherever. So by rights, it's no excuse. I could go up there more and visit. The mom works. I don't know what her working schedule is, and if I go visit, I like to visit with her and the dad, my cousins, but I love going up there. It's probably, regarding cousins, they're probably the only members of my family who invite me to their house. The rest of my family's just, exits that way kind of thing. And it's like, whatever. Because, and this was something I talked about to some other friends of mine about being black sheep. And it, excuse me, it bothers them because they're black sheep of the family. They're black sheep of their families. And I tell them, that's an incentive. I mean, I know it sounds heartless, but it's an incentive, because when your actual family pushes you away, when you no longer feel the need to attach yourself to your family, that means you can go out and explore the world, and you can make friends. You can do what you want to do. Seems they don't invite you to anything. They pretty much shove you away and treat you like you're not even part of the family. That's fine, because it gives you more leeway to explore, to make new friends, to make plans with your friends. You are no longer a part of your bloodline. You can actually go out and make friends and actually consider them your family, like wolves in a pack. You know, you are a pack, and you all look out for one another. You develop a very strong bond, a very strong friendship with the people that you go out and meet. And that's incentive for me. If my own family excludes me out of their lives or out of their plans or whatever, cool. Because if you're going to throw me under the bus, I'm going to come back out and I'm going to drive the bus. And when I drive the bus, I'm going to go where I want to go. So, little extra bit of philosophy for all of you today. But yeah, I mean, there's family who loves you, there's family who's blood, and then there's family who, they're not blood, but they treat you more like family than your own family. And it's my friends over here who treat me like family, and they love me. I mean, I'm well known now to a lot of people, whether it be through social media when I had it, or here on Facebook, or YouTube. I got Facebook on the mind today. No, YouTube. A lot of people know who I am on YouTube, and so that's how that goes. Love me or hate me. Oh well. But anyway, I was supposed to be in Lansing yesterday. I was supposed to meet up with some friends in Lansing yesterday, go to Chuck E. Cheese's, but I don't know, I'm guessing she's not feeling well, or they had other plans in mind, or maybe she forgot. I don't know. I mean, there's always other times that we can hang out and shoot the breeze. But I still had fun yesterday. I was at my cousin's house. This Saturday is the ABC 12 Family Expo. I'm going to be meeting Lizzie Green from Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Dawn. It's a Nickelodeon television show. She will be at the expo. I'm really excited to meet her. I'm looking forward to that. And after the expo, right when I leave the family expo, I'm going to a birthday party for Braden Miller, Buddy Boy. So it's a busy weekend coming up. I don't know what I'm doing for the remainder of this week. I have no other plans. My dog's snoring. Oh, and I put in, how could I have forgotten this? I put in an order for more bird shirts. So just when people thought that I wasn't doing that anymore, I am. I'm still making the bird shirts. That's cool. You can't, like I said, you can't stop me. The more negativity, and this is kind of how I look at it too. The more negativity I have thrown at me, the more ammunition I have, the more it makes me want to do more things for people. And within reason, of course. Like when whoever it is who keeps thumbing down, downvoting my YouTube videos, what they do is they think it gets under my skin. That's their, that's their whatever you call it, it's their game plan. Well, if we keep thumbing down his videos, he's going to want to stop posting videos, and it's going to annoy him. No, I'm not annoyed by it at all, but I notice, but, it doesn't bother me. Because if you have no life and you check my YouTube channel to downvote all my videos, well, guess what? You're giving me more of a reason to continue the videos, which I would anyway, whether you thumbs it down or not. It doesn't matter to me either way. But what it is, it's my haters, because I speak about people who should be spoken about and brought into the light. They should be exposed for the kind of thieving, savage beast scumbags that they are, and I talk about them. And the people who have been so brainwashed and they blindly follow those people, they're the ones coming on here downvoting my videos. Cool. So that means I'm actually speaking truth. I must be saying something that's worth a damn, because if I just agreed with you and defended the scum, you wouldn't be downvoting my videos. You'd be giving each and every one of my videos a hoorah thumbs up. Well, sorry, I don't say things that will make people feel comfortable. I don't say what's popular. I say what's right. And if you're going to defend fraudulent people, then you're just as low as they are. And I don't want to paint a broad brush, because there may be lots of people who don't realize that they're friends with a fraud and a scam. They may not know that. So I want to use that very lightly. But there are people who knowingly and willingly defend frauds, and they don't care. That's why I always say check out GuideStar.org, because there's people in the world, especially in the world of childhood cancer, there's people who claim to have 501c3s. They don't exist. And the families are manipulated and deceived into giving money to the frauds from one, cash in hand from one hand to the other. And they fund their little vacations, and they're going on tours. Bullshit. We don't need tours. We don't need your stinking van or truck, whatever, covered in ribbons. We don't need it. What we need are people in government. We need people in pediatric medicine, because the focus is childhood cancer. So we need people in pediatric medicine advocating for research. We need those people to go to the government and say, hey, we need answers, and as soon as you value people over money, we can get started right away. And that's part of, because I guess all of us advocates have a mission or a goal. Because technically by rights, being a survivor and having gone through it, and I can speak about things that most other people, they don't have the first clue. Which is why I love talking about the whole germ situation, because when you just have people who are so uninformed and uneducated about things, and then they try telling other people, they try to convey information to other people, not knowing if they are currently going through it or if they've already gone through it. But they think they're such experts. They get their master's degree or whatever it is that's required, their medical degrees, through a Google search. Wow. So you checked Google, and now suddenly you are a professional. You know what you're talking about. You have all this knowledge. Well, shalom to the people who are actually working in this field to find the answers currently. And we're talking about medical science. The people who come up with clinical trials, and they're tested on mice and rats, and But no, we don't care what they have to say. We'll just listen to Joe Schmo, Mr. Google researcher. And oh, now suddenly he's a professional. You people are something else. And as a survivor, this is not me saying, listen to me and forget what those people in the field have to say. That's not what I'm saying either. But what I am saying is if you are indirectly affected by it, and you call yourself an advocate when you're, in fact, just being fraudulent. But if you want to call yourself an advocate and then try to preach to people who have already been through this or they are going through it, well, did you know? Yeah, I knew. And I'm not at all interested in what you think or what you have to say. I'm just not. I go on my own knowledge of childhood cancer. I go by the statistic, and which, by the way, all these people who think they're such professionals and they're such impressive bodies of knowledge. I always used to say this when I was on doing my thing. We are your education. This childhood cancer community that you're supposedly advocating for, we are your education. Sure, you can find this information on Google all day long, but it had to have come from somewhere, right? The statistics and the percentages, all those numbers that you see, the one in every X amount, you do realize that those scholars, the people who gathered the information and print it for the public, the researchers, they got this information from the community. They're not just pulling numbers out of their butt and saying, well, we're going to slap this number on there to make it sound more sophisticated, and we're going to, play a little trick on words and to make it sound convincing. No, this is actual factual information. And when you want to try to play Mr. Big Shot, well, if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't be, these other people wouldn't be educated. I'm sorry, but if it wasn't for us, neither would you. So if I were you, I would just tone it down on the whole, well, if it wasn't for me. Because you're actually speaking to someone who is a member of that community. Although I'm not a child anymore and I'm not battling cancer currently, I was a kid at one time who, and I know what this is, and, you can't change that. That's permanent. Had I not gone through that, had I not lived through cancer as a child, I wouldn't advocate for it. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to go through it in order to advocate for research and funding, because that's another misconception that people seem to have of me. They seem to think that I'm always saying that you have to go through it to advocate for it, and that's not what I said. That's way off track. What I've always said is that those of us who actually experienced it firsthand, personally, we know what this is. We're the ones who are going to know right off the bat. We have the firsthand knowledge of the information. We're happy that we have indirectly affected people, advocating for awareness and research. That's the goal. That's what we're trying to push on people. We're trying to pursue those efforts. But when those of us who have gone through it, we just know. There's no not knowing. Once you already know something, you can no longer not know it. And you have people out there who just love to try to make themselves look like big shots in this community. And I'm not putting anybody, well, yeah, I am putting down someone, but I really don't care. I mean, there's people who, they are just so hell-bent on making themselves look like heroes. And they're using children to do it. And when people ask me, well, okay, so then, Jared, what's your reasons for advocating for research and funding? You're a childhood cancer activist or whatever. Yes, I am. And, hello, my personal battle, that's reason enough to want to advocate for that. We all want answers, and we all continuously search for those answers. And just because we haven't found an answer yet doesn't mean that there is no answer. It just means we haven't discovered it yet. And we should never give up hope on finding answers. And there's people who say, well, there is an answer, but they're just not releasing it and all that stuff, which is, you know, it gets bandied about enough. I really don't want to go down that avenue, but there's a whole conspiracy theorist thing going on. And a part of me wants to believe that because... and it could be because I want so badly for these children to not have to suffer anymore at the expense of childhood cancer. And we all want that. But I have to think rationally and critically as well. And it's really hard to make determinations because you have your self-interest, which is, you know, my self-interest would be to I want to cure for this, provided the fact that I survived. But of course I want to cure for this stuff. No other baby or kid should ever have to go through this kind of stuff, ever. But they do. It's unfortunate. And while they're going through this, me, a person who's been there and done that, I want to reach out to the families and say, I understand what you are going through. I understand this journey. I'm walking with you every step of the way. Now, when we're talking about DIPG, it's very, very depressing because DIPG, that's the inoperable brain tumor that Antonia had, and the thing with DIPG, the truth is that you're given pretty much so much, you know, you're given a death sentence. You have so long to live, and there are warriors left and right who they've been passing away. And I know that it's inevitable. That's what any outside observer would say. Well, they're going to pass away anyway. But here's the thing. We still want to pursue efforts in raising awareness to this. The only way we're ever going to break this cycle of, well, childhood cancer is rare, is if we continuously advocate for funding and research and we bring light to the issue. This is not rare. When you consider the statistics, the overall, the annual, yearly diagnoses, the number of kids who are diagnosed with some type of cancer, not strictly DIPG, but we're talking childhood cancer across the board, and there are just hundreds and thousands of different types of childhood cancer. There's subcategories of childhood cancer, and it just goes on and on. When you consider the annual diagnoses, how can you say that it's rare? You can't. There's just no way. And part of my effort, or my goal, as a survivor, is to say, I've been there and done that, and I want to provide hope and some kind, maybe some kind of inspiration to you and your child, and to give you hope. I've been free and clear now for 29 years, and while yes, Wilms tumor, in most cases rather, it is likely that you'll survive. There are also warriors who have passed away from Wilms tumor. So it's not. I mean, it's the type of cancer where you have better chances of surviving. But it still doesn't mean that I care less about the other warriors. It doesn't mean that I've given up hope. It doesn't mean I've given up on them. I'll never give up on the warriors. I'll never give up on the families. And yes, this is also for my haters whose kids are still alive, or they're still fighting, or they survived, or what have you. You can hate me all day long. That's fine. You can think whatever you want to think about me. I can't stop you. But I want you to know that I was always on your side, and I always wanted the absolute best for your warrior, and I'm sorry you feel the way you feel about me, although your feelings are incorrect. But one day you'll see. You'll see that I'm not the kind of person that you were brainwashed into believing that I was. I'm actually a pretty cool person. I'm laid back. I have a sense of humor. I like to joke with people, and I like to make people laugh. I like to, like I write poems, and the only poem I recently just written was called Sweetest Lauren, who is also a wilderness warrior, and I'm going to be meeting her very soon. And there's a couple of other warriors who live here in Michigan that I have the opportunity of meeting, and I'm so looking forward to meeting them. But the thing is I'm always constantly being judged. Like now, people watch we've seen Jared's YouTube videos, and he sounds like a creep. I'm not a creep. I don't know what else to say about that. That's just something you made up in your own head, or you're just stirring the pot. But I'm not a creep. We hear the way you talk to the kids. Yes, I talk to the kids like I talk to any other kid in the world. When I go and visit my friends who live in Eaton Rapids, they are sitting in the room when I'm talking to him. Or, if Caleb wants me to follow him to his room, his parents are never far away. So it's like, okay, the parents will come and say, "Hey, Caleb, what you doing? We're just coming to check on you." No, we're just chilling. He's just showing me his game. The parents trust me enough to be around their kids. I've never given them any reason to think otherwise, and I never would, because I'm not that kind of a person. It's what people want to believe, to get back at me, and this is all retaliation because I speak about him. I'm not everybody's cup of tea right now, and I'm not everybody's choice as an advocate, but that's okay. Because regardless of what people think about me or have to say about me, I've always been loyal. I've always been truthful. And if I see something wrong, if I spot the obvious, guess what? I'm going to talk about it. Get used to it, because you're going to have somebody who just doesn't care. And when I've had enough, I'm going to let you know. So, but yeah, I always wish the best for the kids. That's never going to change. It's going to take a whole lot to get me to change my mind about the warriors and wanting to help people. Although lately, like I said, I've just been feeling down and out about things. It's just the fact that there's people out there that I've helped, and they kind of put me on the back burner, and it's like, wow, I've done a lot, and I'm like back here, like, hi, I'm in the back of the line again. But I try not to fuss too much about it. I don't make too big a deal about it, because I don't want to come off as sounding like a whiny little pansy ass, But to a point, it does hurt, because it's like, well, I've done a lot for you, and I would hope, or at least assume, that you'd say, hey, come on over for supper, or hey, let's go do something, because you've done so much for my family. Let my family do something for you for once. I don't expect it, but it'd be nice. I mean, I don't do it. I'm not an advocate. See, that's another misconception. Also, Jared is an advocate thinking he can get something out of it. No. You know what? Okay. Do you know what I get out of being an advocate? I get love. I get respect. I get friendship. I'm not looking for, I'm not doing this looking for praise or a pat on the back. That's that guy over there. And you know who I'm talking about. No, what I'm saying is that I do things out of the kindness of my heart. I don't have to be asked to do it. I don't have to be told to do it. What I'm saying is, it would be nice once in a while if someone would just, out of the kindness of their heart, recognize me and say, hey, he's done a lot for our family. We should do something special for him. Because I'm always doing for them. But like I said, I don't expect it. But it would be nice. I mean, But I don't know. I just don't understand. There's a lot of things I don't understand, actually. I don't even know where I'm going with that. I guess what I wanted to say is I don't understand how, there's people who they allow the frauds to continuously get away with what they're doing. I will never understand that. They welcome them into their house. It's like you have no idea what you're getting yourself into. No idea at all. None. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news because I know you've got so much going on in your lives right now, but you're getting mixed up with this particular guy, and this isn't me just trying to stir the pot. There's evidence. It's been proven. There's court documentation. You're getting yourself mixed up with some really shady people. And then they want to deny it all day long. Well, no, that was in the past. Well, it was in the past. But he's citing your kids to get away or to elude the consequences of his actions. You can't make it up. But anyway, I'm not going to go down that avenue today. It's been a long week. And as a matter of fact, speaking of a long week, Friday was my dad's birthday. He turned the big 6-0. I bought him a beer on his birthday. We went down to the back 40 and had a couple beers. He bought me a beer. I bought him a beer for his birthday. We had a birthday party for him on Wednesday at the Hickory Lounge in Owasso, and there are a few people there. And a person that I've known for, I don't know, the past 16 years or so, decided to get loud and boisterous, engaging in histrionics with my brother, saying shut the F up. I mean, shouting across the bar. There's hardly anybody in the bar, and it wasn't loud, and it's like, well, there's no reason for you to shout. But she was being a bit of a nuisance, and I guess she is a regular in the bar, and they know her to be loud and obnoxious and boisterous. And she looked at me and she says, well, Jared, I guess you're the only one who doesn't hate me, right? I don't hate anybody, but the way you're behaving it's uncalled for. I'm not going to, if you're going to ask me my opinion, I'm going to tell you. I don't hate you, but you're acting rather childish right now. You're acting, you're 47 years old almost, and you're acting like you're 12. she got mad at my brother Jay because Jay was picking on her. And, shut the F up, Jay, you bastard. You know, just calling him out, using all kinds of profane language. And my brother Jay's just looking at her like, are you done? You want a Kleenex to wipe your eyes? You know, it's like, oh man, you're getting her so mad, Jay. You better just stop. But that's my brother. He just doesn't care. But she's, I don't know. Like I said, I've known her since I was 15 years old. So it's been about 16 years ago. And she's just, I don't know. She's always been obnoxious and a drama queen and just loud and boisterous. And it's like, we're here to celebrate my dad's birthday, not listen to you act like a child. And you're a grown woman, so it's like, please get over yourself and just go home. Do something. Leave us alone. Well, good morning, sleepyhead.
Good morning, Jerry.
I didn't make any coffee. I'm just drinking coffee that was already in the pot.
Okay. Sounds good here.
Just doing the Sunday video update.
Okay. Uh-oh. My kid called me again last night.
Yeah.
I wish he never would have.
I'm expecting, actually, I'm planning a phone call today. I'm going to be talking about making a visit to Memphis, Tennessee. And I have to give her a call today. She never gave me a specific time. But I'm sure I'll call her. I'll probably end up trying to call her after I wrap up this video. I've been here quite a while. Almost an hour. No, that hour went by quick. Yeah, it's been a long week. It's been, I don't know, it's been one of those long, stressful weeks. There were some good points. There were some not so good points. But, you know, it all works out, I guess. I just have to roll with the flow. But I do feel bad, because I've been hearing a lot of reports about warriors dying this week. And Antonia is one of the warriors that I just absolutely love so much. I sent her some gifts in the mail because she loved Minnie Mouse and Mickey Mouse. She loved them. And so what did I do? I went to the store and just went all out on, just like with Caleb, he loves Mutant Ninja Turtles. I went all out and bought Caleb a bunch of Ninja Turtle stuff. And with Antonia, she loved Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse, and I just went all out and just bought her a whole bunch of Mickey and Minnie, like activity books and coloring books, and stickers, and, because kids like stickers. And I feel bad because now Antonia's no longer with us, and her mom, her parents, the family, they're gonna have to adjust to living life without her. This new normal that they've been shoved into. If you can hear that in the background, it's my cat trying to get out of the bedroom. But it's a new normal that the family's going to have to cope with and adapt to. And we're not saying, forget Antonia. No, we will never forget Antonia. I will never forget a warrior. I will never forget a warrior. Oh, sweet pea. It's depressing, to say the least. But when I decided to become an advocate, I knew what I was getting myself into. I knew what the community was like. I mean, how do you not know what it's like if you've been through it? So you have to know what you're getting yourself into, and I certainly knew what I was getting myself into. But the impact of hearing that kind of news, it hits you, and it hits you hard. And it damn near takes your breath away because it hits you so hard. But it's one of those things, you just gotta. There's other warriors out there who need us, and we're a voice for them. But at the same time, we continue our advocacy efforts in the memory and the legacy and in the honor of the warriors who are now resting. We have to keep it going. And it's hard, but we have to keep it going. We got to keep it moving because it's childhood cancer is not stopping. And we can't stop. We have to keep going. We have to keep raising awareness, and we have to keep making those stern efforts, and we have to keep making awareness. It has to be a continuous thing. And there were, you know what, actually, I'm kind of glad I mentioned this because there was something else I wanted to bring up as well. Hey, Amy?
Yeah.
Your cat is scratching to get out.
Okay.
There was something else I wanted to talk about. A friend of mine who's an advocate for DIPG, she's indirectly affected. But she is just a sweetheart. I love her so much. She's such a dear friend of mine. She says, I need to take a break. And I turn to you because I know you would understand. But I need to take a break. She says, I'm not leaving the community. I'm not going to stop advocating for awareness. Of course not. Absolutely not. And she says, but I feel like if I'm taking a break, I feel kind of selfish about it. And I don't want the families to think that I am leaving them behind or I'm giving up on them. Of course not. And this goes for, the advocates. If you need to take a break, take that break. You need to have some downtime for yourself, with your families. You need to make time for yourselves as well. Because I'm going to tell you, there are a lot of advocates out there, a lot of reputable, respectable advocates out there. When certain advocates need to take a break, there's always going to be advocates out there advocating for the kids. Always. So please don't ever feel guilty about taking a break, because if you allow yourself to just relax and to allow yourself to focus on yourself and your family, your partners and your children, family life, and you have to rest, relax, what you're doing is you're re-energizing yourself. So that way when you do come back into it, you're going to be fully charged and you're going to be as energetic as you were before, and you're going to be you're going to be compassionate as you've always been, and you're going to be passionate about your advocacy efforts, but you're also going to have more compassion for the families and the warriors affected. I'm not saying that you don't now, but when you allow yourself to take a break, you can come back as a new person, so to speak. You can come back refreshed and re-energized. So please don't feel guilty if you need to take a break. I have a friend who's a cancer mom right now, Caleb's mom. She is always constantly on the go. She's helping people all the time. She's always on the go constantly. I love her to death. But she's always constantly on the go. And it's like, woman, you gotta relax. You gotta take a break. So, it's okay to take breaks. I thought Dad was awake. Well, he is awake. I don't know, but I'm doing my Sunday video update. Well, actually, it's on Nickelodeon right now because I fell asleep last night watching George Lopez, Nick at Night. Scruff.
I'm getting up, Tommy. You're gonna bite me. What are you doing? What?
But anyway, guys, it's been a great week. It's been a not so great week, kind of in between. Dad, he's got to take his blood pressure pill. Yeah, he turned 60 on Friday.
Quit.
He's yelling at our dog, Scruffy. He's got to take his blood pressure pill. Dad does. So, but anyway, YouTubers, I've been here for over an hour, or about an hour, and it's time to wrap this up. But anyway, I will talk to you guys later. I love you all. Much love. And peace. Take care.